This one got rear-ended, and they just kicked this one off the road, because no one likes teachers on the road, especially when it comes to long-haul truckers who endure arrogant idiots behind the wheel for hours. I've gathered the most intense moments for you, when tough truck drivers couldn't resist and responded to provocation on the road, from crazy car ramming to real hunts for teachers. And in the end, I'll show you what happens to those who decide to teach the life of an excavator driver. Poor guys. This recording, made in Voronezh, shows how a truck driver tries to overtake a Hyundai Solaris, which has stopped on the left lane with hazard lights on. Suddenly, the white sedan starts moving and abruptly brakes in front of the truck. The truck driver makes another attempt to bypass the obstacle, but the sedan changes lanes again and ends up in front of him. In the end, the truck collides with the sedan and drags it several dozen meters along the road. Despite the desperate attempts of the sedan driver to brake, the speed and power of the accelerating truck were much higher. Fortunately, there were no injuries in the incident. Moreover, the traffic police did not arrive at the scene, and the participants in the accident documented it according to the European protocol. The driver of a Skoda Octavia, for unclear reasons, decided to teach a truck driver a lesson on a high-speed highway. According to comments, the owner of the Czech liftback didn't like that the truck was occupying the left lane for too long. In response, the car driver decided to abruptly brake right in front of the truck. The long-haul driver either couldn't or didn't want to react in time to the maneuver, resulting in serious damage to the rear of the Skoda Octavia, which was then sent to a service center. In the city of Grodno, a road conflict occurred, involving drivers of a service minibus and a small truck. Interestingly, the victim in this road situation turned out to be a third car, the driver of which published the video of the incident. Initially, all three cars were moving parallel to each other in different lanes. However, soon the lane on which the truck was driving started to end, and as seen in the video, the truck began to shift towards the road service minibus. In turn, it shifted towards the video author. The maneuvering of the truck and minibus occurred near a pedestrian crossing. The minibus, trying to overtake the truck, decided to demonstratively change lanes in front of it, without using turn signals. After this maneuver, the truck driver took the initiative, taking the next step in the development of this road conflict. On a rural highway, an incident occurred when the driver of a Hyundai crossover decided to bypass the traffic on the shoulder. His attempt to get back on the road was blocked by a truck driver who decided not to let the violator pass, wanting to teach him a lesson. In response, the motorist drove through the gas station and abruptly pulled in front of the truck. This maneuver caused dissatisfaction among other road users. In the end, the drivers, in joint efforts, surrounded the violator, essentially boxing in the crossover. Solidarity on the road. No one cancelled it. The driver of a black Toyota showed complete disregard for traffic rules when he decided to ignore the road narrowing and drove straight through the safety island while changing lanes from the left, trying to cut in ahead of the minivan and then the truck. He provoked outrage from other road users. In response to threats and loud honking from the truck driver, the decision was made not to yield and continue driving straight, thereby tearing off the wing of the audacious driver. This video, shot from a teacher's car, shows a road conflict between the driver of a car and a truck transporting goods for the Magnit supermarket chain. The car driver didn't like that the truck was moving too slowly in the left lane. The situation develops according to a familiar scenario. The driver overtakes the truck and abruptly brakes in front of it, clearly trying to provoke the trucker. His attempts eventually succeeded when the truck driver decided to overtake the car and, presumably intentionally, delivered a strong side impact. Upset about some preceding event that remained off camera, the Audi driver decided to take revenge on the trucker by abruptly braking in front of the truck, apparently not considering the fact that heavy trucks cannot react instantly to such actions. The car driver received a strong rear-end collision. After the collision, he didn't immediately stop to document the traffic incident, but continued driving, probably trying to make sense of what happened and decide how to proceed. The story doesn't reveal what exactly angered the owner of Opel Astra 2 against two dump truck drivers, who, according to the video's author, hunted him down and cornered his car on the shoulder, creating a kind of a box. According to the claims, the incident was provoked by an attempt of the sedan driver to teach a lesson to one of the trucks on the highway. Fortunately for the sedan driver, the situation was resolved relatively safely. He managed to evade the trap and escape from the scene. However, this incident probably became a serious lesson for the sedan driver, who will likely avoid such conflicts on the road in the future. The owner of the Hyundai Elantra sedan for some reason decided to provoke long-haul truckers by intentionally slowing down in front of their trucks. However, this seemed insufficient for the motorist, and he decided to further infuriate the drivers by making an inappropriate gesture. This became the last straw for the patience of the truckers, who joined forces and surrounded the sedan, creating a trap. In a difficult position, the sedan driver engaged in a verbal altercation with the truck drivers, which soon escalated into a physical confrontation. In the end, the truckers emerged victorious in a small scuffle. This unusual traffic incident occurred in distant Malaysia and was recorded by one of the long-haul truckers, although the truck was not directly involved in the incident. A motorcyclist, deciding to unexpectedly change lanes in front of a car, chose to use the small gap between the vehicles. However, apparently he did not consider that the car driver did not expect such a maneuver. At that moment, the driver was searching for his phone inside the car and did not notice the motorcyclist suddenly appearing in front of him. From multiple videos, it becomes clear that the issue of road teachers or aggressive drivers trying to educate other road users is relevant not only in the country but in many European states. In one of these videos, an attempt by a Volkswagen Golf driver to create a hazardous situation on the Autobahn was recorded, performing dangerous maneuvers in front of a truck in the hope of testing the patience of the truck driver. Such behavior could have led to a serious accident. However, thanks to the professionalism of the long-haul trucker, who skillfully maneuvered around the obstacle, a potential collision was prevented. In the end, both vehicles continued their journey, going their separate ways, avoiding a possible catastrophe. This incident occurred several years ago on Sholkovskaya highway in Moscow. The driver of a Maz truck from Cherepovets patiently tried to overtake the weaving Kia Rio in front of him, behaving like a teacher on the road for a long time. However, at some point, apparently the long-haul driver's patience ran out. He decided to accelerate, and as a result, Kia Rio ended up under the wheels of the truck, blocking the traffic lane. The driver and passengers emerged from the sedan, expressing their dissatisfaction loudly, gesturing, and making calls on their mobile phones. According to the Maz driver, the police arrived at the scene of the accident approximately 20 minutes later. After the investigation, the Kia driver was found guilty on the incident. As for the damage, the Maz truck only suffered minor damages, such as a dented bumper and detached headlight mounts, while the repair of Kia Rio cost more than $1,500. In this case, the driver of a silver car apparently was not in a sane state, possibly under the influence of alcohol. The situation resembled a scene from a horror movie. After overtaking a truck, The driver of the silver foreign car began driving in front of it, intentionally hindering the truck from passing. The long-haul trucker had the opportunity to contact colleagues, including the driver of the black SUV, for joint action against the troublemaker. However, their attempt to stop the violator barely avoided ending in tragedy. Several people joined in capturing the inadequate driver, trying to corner him and block the road to prevent further violations. Unfortunately, the moment of detention was not captured on camera, but it can be hoped that these actions led to a productive outcome, and the violator was stopped. On one of the highways near St. Petersburg, a situation unfolded when the driver of a white BMW didn't like that a truck was occupying the left lane. Deciding to make matters into his own hands, the BMW driver overtook the truck and began slowing down in front of it, thereby creating dangerous conditions on the road. Engaging in a game with the truck, the car driver lost sight of his turn towards the cottage settlement. In the last attempt to turn right, he couldn't maintain control of the car and ultimately crashed into the road barrier. And here's a video from Samara, where an incident occurred on the road when the driver of a Mazda didn't like that a truck driver with a dashcam, being in his lane, hindered him from making a left turn from the right lane. Due to this, the driver of the car decided to teach a lesson to the truck driver, considering his behavior on the road inappropriate. Indeed, there are cases when even truck drivers get involved in conflicts on the road, becoming teachers for their colleagues. For example, in the USA, an incident was recorded when one truck driver decided to educate another by cutting him off on the road. On the highway, the driver of a truck in the left lane collided with a suddenly appearing SUV in front of him. The SUV driver, getting out of the car, tried to discuss the situation, but a horn from behind made him realize his mistake. In the end, the SUV driver received a lesson from onlookers for his sudden lane intrusion and avoided a collision with the truck. In the social media comments, a discussion unfolded about the rules of the truck's movement in the left lane and the assessment of the entire incident. And in my opinion, it's indeed a complex situation. The driver of a Toyota Land Cruiser decided to teach a lesson to a truck, but got an unexpected lesson in return. This incident quickly spread on social media after being published in one of the coastal communities. The video demonstrates how the SUV driver, for unclear reasons, tried to punish the truck driver, overtaking him and starting to brake in front of him. However, the long-haul trucker turned out to be cleverer. He called for the help of another truck, which overtook the Land Cruiser and sandwiched it between two trucks. Such a turn of events caused delight among social media users in the Primorsky region. On the Kola highway near St. Petersburg, the driver of an old BMW tried to teach a lesson to a loaded dump truck. However, the lesson ended in failure for the car driver, who had to drive away to fix the damaged rear bumper. The BMW driver, taken aback by the unexpected turn of events, initially stopped, but then decided to continue the journey. On the highway, not far from the traffic police post, a Gazelle was moving within the speed of limit of 30 miles per hour. At this time, Kia Rio began overtaking it. Approaching the post, the Kia driver started slowing down due to the intersection ahead, allowing a left turn. The Gazelle, in turn, overtook Kia on the right and continued moving. A kilometer later, the Kia driver caught up with the Gazelle, overtook it, and a real circus began. Trying to abruptly change lanes in front of a Gazelle and brake, the Kia driver accidentally clipped its left side. This led to the car skidding to the roadside, where it somersaulted twice. The driver of a Ford, moving on the shoulder, got angry at the truck driver who wouldn't let him back onto the road. In an attempt to retaliate, he started braking abruptly in front of the truck, creating dangerous situations. Ultimately, after the driver of the Ford received several hits from a tire iron, he preferred to leave the scene of the incident. In this video from Hong Kong, an incident is recorded, vividly illustrating the consequences of aggressive behavior on the road. The driver of the black minivan decided to teach a taxi driver, stopping on the expressway and trying to cut him off. The taxi driver, in turn, moved to another lane to avoid a collision. However, the teacher did not consider that the truck was approaching from behind at high speed, full of mud. The source of the mud is not specified, but the truck driver had to brake sharply, causing the mud to fly out of the cargo area and onto the cars. As a result, the taxi ended up only dirty, while the rear window of the minivan shattered, and a large amount of unpleasant-smelling liquid entered the cabin. And here's an incident involving a girl in a red BMW, who, without using the turn signal, cut off the author behind the wheel of a truck. After a remark from the truck driver, the car enthusiast, apparently feeling offended, tried to take revenge, leading to an accident due to her not-so-great driving skills. However, the further development of the situation turned out to be unexpected. The male driver, seemingly having exhausted his patience and self-control, after a brief inspection of the damage to his vehicle, decided to leave the scene of the accident, not forgetting to leave unpleasant words for the lady. Such an action may lead to additional problems for him, considering his departure from the scene of the incident. In the video, it can be seen that both cars are moving in the left lane, while the right lane remains free. The Lada driver tries to signal with headlights to the truck driver to switch to the right lane, but for unclear reasons, the truck stays in its lane. In response, the owner of the car begins to brake in front of the truck, creating obstacles for it. However, such actions do not lead to desired result for the car driver. In the end, the truck crashes into the rear bumper of the Lada, pushing it onto the oncoming lane. Fortunately, at that moment, there were no other cars on the oncoming lane. Well, as promised, the most hardcore one. Two determined drivers got out of their cars to have a confrontation with the drivers of a dump truck and an excavator because they blocked the road. The beginning of the dialogue didn't go well, and at that moment, the excavator operator decided to help his colleague, applying a very unusual approach. All these videos I showed you convey one single thought. Stay human on the road. Don't assume you're smarter and faster. Follow the rules of the road and be polite. Thanks for watching!